Welcome to Leveling Up with Lindsay, the podcast where we dive into leadership, small business, and everything in between. I'm Lindsay, your host and the proud owner of White Peony Boutique, a space created to empower women, build confidence, and foster meaningful connections. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a mom, a friend, or someone just looking for a little inspiration, this is your space to feel seen, supported, and inspired. Join me as we share stories, strategies, and a little bit of life's chaos while navigating what it truly means to level up in starting a business, relationship, and personal growth. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and let's level up together. All right, here we are. I am here with one of my White Peony employees, a really, really amazing friend, Miss Autumn.
Thank you.
Hi. This is my very first interview on this podcast, and I am so excited, but it absolutely feels right and natural for sitting next to you. We've been through quite the journey here with White Peony Boutique, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I know you have such an incredible following from our customers, from your own personal life and wellness journey. I'm excited. I think people want to really get to know, if they haven't already, heard from your story.
I love that. And I just want to say I've been encouraging her to do a podcast for years. So to be here and be part of it is pretty awesome.
She's not wrong.
Congratulations on that. Yes.
I actually told her that we're doing this on her birthday.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, guess what? Happy birthday. Not maybe a normal birthday present, but that's fine.
I was very excited. It was a great birthday present.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about leadership. Not only do I want to hear kind of your story and what you were before White Peony and kind of your journey with White Peony, but I want to talk about your own professional development. And for me, it's truly having the importance of having the right people on my team. I do believe there's something to be said with you surround yourself with the right people to lift you up. And I have learned so much from Autumn being on her team and as a really great friend. So I would love to know, or I think the listeners would love to hear kind of, who is Autumn? Who were you before starting White Peony Boutique? What you kind of do behind the scenes?
Yeah. So fun fact, I went to school for dental hygiene and that's kind of where I started. So actually, before I started with White Peony, I was a dental hygienist for 8 years and developed, it's a genetic thing, but I developed a shoulder injury that caused me to take down my hours. And before that, I was also on a health and wellness journey after my second child. I had went through a lot of things and I realized I needed to put myself forward. So I was kind of developing that part of me a little bit more on the, quote unquote fitness influencer and eating right and on my own journey that way. But then as my health declined physically, I had to go part-time. And I was like, I'm a very hard worker. So
yes, you
no
are.
rest for me. And so actually it popped up on my Facebook feed right when I had decided to go part-time that you guys needed help during the holiday season. And I said, love White Peony. I could do that. That's where it started. I started a holiday temp position to kind of fill my time because I don't know how to sit down.
In the chaos.
Yeah.
And if looking back, I'm like, that's probably like one weekend. I'm like, please be on my team forever. Because there's something about Autumn who, if I could describe Autumn, number one is like a fierce work ethic, that's for sure. But it's for me, and having you come on our team full time was far more than just a work ethic. Yeah. I knew pretty quickly on how much heart you put into the work that you do, which for me is obviously very, very important. From the very first time that you came on to White Peony, like that first week, and you were like, what do you want me to do? You were like running around. Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to do? Okay, yes, ma'am. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. To leading people today. Yeah. It has been quite the incredible journey.
We joke a lot about how when I got hired on, she's like, I had you in shipping. I knew you were meant for something else. And it was true. And it was funny because for me, I was like, I'm a person and always have been the person that if you give me a task, if you tell me something to do, I will do it 110%. And I'm driven by physical results.
Yep.
So the transition into leadership, where that technically isn't always the case, was probably the biggest transition for me.
Yeah. But I think you've done it well.
Yeah.
What year did you start White Peony?
I was trying to think of this. My kids just asked me that too. I think it was full-time. It was 2020 when I started.
Okay.
And then 2021 when I full-time started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, the things that we've done in 4 years.
Yeah, truly.
I feel like I've been with you side by side with this journey for 10 plus years, to be honest.
Truly. Like when you think about it in the beginning of when we were, it would be go to work and then come home in the evenings. And the group of women that would come on their evenings every single night to do all the things like lives, shipping, tagging, all of the things happen in the evenings because we were not running at full time.
And now we're running to get out of here by 4:30, 5 o'clock, like running. So it's like turntables in such a great way.
Yeah.
We've met a lot of people.
Yes.
We've had a lot of events.
Yes.
We have moved a lot of clothing to and from.
My physical activity is always on point.
She's a girl to track her steps. Yeah. And if she doesn't have her watch on, she gets upset. And let me tell you.
I'll go back and get it. My stairs are counting.
No, but it's really been an incredible journey. And honestly, like I thank the universe for allowing our paths to cross, truly. I believe that, those kind of things happen for a reason.
I agree.
And I think when you pair our drive, our work ethic, but like our heart and passion, I mean, we could sit here and talk with you guys for hours and we're probably going to end up crying like 13 times in between, only because we're talking about something we care together and that we care about it so much. But
that's another fun fact about me. Any emotion other than meh, I'm crying probably. Happy, sad.
I don't know if I believe that, but I love it. Okay, let's talk about your transition a little bit more and what it's meant for. So from very beginning, like just talk about like White Peony. I repeat myself over and over and over. And I've said it from the beginning and I'm like, and this is no offense to anywhere else. I just really, really hate the word retail. I hate it. I hate it because I grew up where retail was like the longest hours, the weekend hours. You knew that you weren't getting any Christmas time off. I worked at a retail location for 3 months. 3 months, then that was it when I was younger. And I can't remember if I was a senior in high school or just fresh out of high school, but it was literally, no offense, and I'm not saying names.
We will not say where it was at.
It was the most boring, awful 3 months. I always say that because I literally, while folding, I walked in, was uncomfortable because I didn't know anybody, and I folded clothes the entire time. And I even got a watch, honestly. I put a watch on. I never wore watches, but because I was like looking at the time counting down, and you're not supposed to do that. Like that just makes it go even slower. So going from, working with my family at the Minnesota State Fair and then folding clothes for like 4 hours, it felt like an eternity.
And they walk in and then destroy what you just did.
Yeah. And I wasn't like taught at the time, and I'm not going to blame anyone else besides myself, but I think there's a journey with learning people skills, but I definitely didn't know how to use my people skills at that time. So long story short, when creating White Peony Boutique, I was like, this is not going to be your normal retail. And I will like work sun up till sundown to make sure it's not.
Yes.
And you have been a part of that journey too. Yeah. So when I say it is more than just clothing, it is not just retail. What do you think that means to you? Or like,
I love this question. So when I had started, again, I was thinking more when I had started, when I originally was going to do it, I'm like, I'm shipping, going to come in, clock out. And as everything kind of evolved, that was always the thing you had said from the beginning, more than just clothing or more than just retail. And you know how some people can say things and you're like, oh, okay, that sounds really pretty. But I think the biggest thing, and I'm glad you're doing this podcast on like leadership, because truly you walked the walk and not just talk the talk. And I'm a people person, and truly it's about the connections you make with the people that walk in. There are customers that we've had for years that honestly come in, not even to buy anything, but just to come and say hi. I know their kids' names, and I know that they just had surgery last week. And some people just need an outlet. Some people are looking for a confidence booster. Some people come in not wanting to try on clothes. But at the end of the day, if you can make them feel beautiful, there's so many people that come in that are looking for something different.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Connecting. It's connecting on a human basis, because truly each individual customer, like, we're so thankful for them to be in our store and come to visit us and, maybe buy some clothing, but it's so much more than that, because there's clothes everywhere.
Yeah.
And
isn't that the truth?
And it is about being different and making them feel welcome and like family, truly.
I'm going to speak right now to anybody that's listening, whether you're a business owner or an individual. I think for me, I didn't realize the power and the love I had for connection initially. But what I did know is that I went through my own journey. And I think you can speak to this a little bit further too. But I was a young mom trying to get by in life, trying to climb a corporate ladder, trying to like push against every darn insecurity that you can come up with for a girl my age, at the time. And I think that era too, like I grew up with freaking Barbie dolls and magazine covers and all the things. So yeah, I struggled with major insecurities. I had great friends, I had sports, I had phenomenal family, but internally I was very insecure. And I remember there would be like times that I'd go shop for like jeans and it would only take my best friend because I knew that I was like, I hate jean shopping.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel like crap about myself. I hate it. But what I'm getting at is like, I wanted to create a space, an outlet. So when in the beginning I said White Peony Boutique is more than just a clothing store, I wanted to create a space where you could come and feel a part of something bigger that is not just clothing. It's literally to feel good, to be heard and seen, and actually to have a space where you can relate with people. I think we also get insecure because we think that we're going through it ourselves. Well, I know social media has kind of like done good and bad with that. But I just wanted, a busy mom, sometimes you got to cry it out and like move on. I wanted it to be a space where someone could come do that with us if they needed, and just know that you aren't alone and it's okay.
And it's just an experience. It's not just trying on clothes. Like it should be an experience where you're finding the things that make you feel good when you walk out the door. Like I want someone to be proud of the purchases that they have because how they feel in the clothes.
It's deeper.
Yes.
It is deeper. Yeah. So speaking to anyone, business or individuals, I think, especially business owners, it may start, especially if you're starting a new business, you might not have all the answers. Like in my heart, I knew that this was going to be more. I knew that I wanted to be more. I couldn't put like a thumb on it though. And then I think as the journey evolved, it was very clear.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done a lot of things to make that known that we're not just your average retail, including, our part-time staff that is incredible, by the way. Gosh.
Yeah.
We have the best group of ladies here ever. But I think it stems from like you and I and our mission. And even for them, I don't want them to come and be bored folding clothing for 4 hours. That's a no. But it's evolved. So in the beginning, I didn't really know the people skills and how to use that, but I knew I wanted a space where you could get away and just take your mind off all the stress of every day. Yeah. And then it really has turned into an art of people skills. And very quickly, I'm like, I love bringing people together. I love bringing people together.
Love it.
And I think when it comes to that, like you're a social little butterfly. That's what my uncle used to call me, social little butterfly. Yeah. I believe that you are as well. And so just in the transition with the people skills, yes, we're going to talk about leadership here, but I think there's something to be said about leading not only our team, but leading our customers and our community and showing them that you truly care.
Yes.
Right?
Agreed.
Talking about just culture in general, we talked about a little bit of the journey. We'll get into a little bit more about your leadership and whatnot, but culture, how do you believe or how do you feel the culture here at White Peony Boutique, even in its journey, has kind of shaped you personally, maybe professionally, definitely?
Yes. That's a really big question. And I'm like, I could go so many different ways when it comes to the culture of White Peony. And like I had said before, with the leadership skills that you had kind of set for yourself, I think one of the biggest things is empowering the people that work for you to develop their confidence in their roles. Yeah. And that has been a huge thing for me. And a lot of White Peony culture that I believe you kind of set the tone for us as your employees and for just White Peony in general. Authenticity is the first thing that I think of, letting me specifically be exactly who I am and finding the skills within the person, because like I don't have the same skill sets as some of my coworkers do, but really honing in on like who you are as a person and really growing in confidence and developing those skill sets that I have. Like I'll never be Mama Jane charcuterie queen. Okay. And that's okay. I don't have that attention to detail, but that's why you have people on your team that are those people.
Didn't she fire you from wrapping gifts?
100%. She's pretty much fired me from any creativity, like putsy.
I know Autumn's not the girl that we're going to do crafting with, but she's definitely the person, my right hand, the girl I
want me
like.
To move stuff.
You're on my speed dial because I need to talk with you and I need to get stuff
I'm
done.
literally a bull in a china shop. Like it's just, we don't do well with crafts, but like I'll move some stuff, you know? But the other thing that I think in general, and I think this is White Peony for if you work here, if you are someone that walks in, is just more of an empowerment thing. I think when a woman walks in or we hire somebody, it's truly empowering them to live their own truth and be exactly who they are today.
I love
and that. Seeing truly themselves as somebody else sees them. And I think it takes time sometimes, like even with our customers, like they come in and developing those relationships and you start to see that spark in them. But same with the people that work here. I think every single woman that's on this team has such strong attributes and such strong character that it's been really cool. Like everyone is their own person.
I agree. The one thing I'm so proud of is that our team, the women on our team, there's one common denominator and that is heart.
Agreed.
So everyone is so different, but I was like, you know, if the economy does something wonky, I mean, we've got our hearts are way too big to slow down. We have too many things to give and too many people to serve. But I think of you I remember being at White Peony in the very beginning. And, you know, it's always uncomfortable because I think I went to market. We had like literally 50 boxes at the shed. I had asked friends if anybody wanted to come help unbox. It was like before an event and we need to get 50 boxes in a teeny tiny little space. So we had to unpack them now. And if anybody knows our journey and what we've worked with thus far, we do not have a warehouse space that is ideal in any way, shape, or form. The shed was originally built out for warehouse space, but after COVID, it was like we need people in our life, so we made it into a much bigger storefront than I ever thought. But looking back at that, I remember I had a bunch of friends, my mother-in-law, my mom, we were unboxing. Everybody came after work. I think we got pizza, and Autumn was running around doing her thing. And I'll never forget, like, it was either that night or after, and I was like looking at you, and you looked just nervous. I said, I can't remember if it was that night or, like I said, the next day. But I remember being like, hey, you just be you.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
Because you were just like, what do I got to do? I don't know these people. I'm running around. And so I knew, and it wasn't in a bad way in any way, shape, or form, but I'm like, I want to see the real Autumn. I want to know more about who the real Autumn is. And, you know, when you try to be someone in a room that you don't know anyone, you know how that is. You're like nervous. Should I talk about my personal life? Should I talk about my career? Should we talk about the weather, which you're never supposed to do? It's really, really, really cool. And we've had these conversations many times. Yeah. It's like, just be you. There are people that may not want the best version of you or want to see that, but there is someone out there that you're inspiring. I'm inspiring someone else. Someone might not want to hear my voice on here. It's just there's someone out there that needs to hear you and who you are and what you bring to the table.
It's so funny you say that because growing up, I had a personality that sometimes was too much for people. And so coming too much. Yeah. I was always like, I called myself the chameleon, that if I was with the popular kids, I could, you know, kind of try to blend with them because I felt like sometimes if I let my true self out, then people, I don't know. I felt like I was too much of a personality.
You say that.
Coming into certain situations. But now I'm like, you know what? I don't know if it's age or White Peony, but
all of the above.
Yeah.
I think life in general.
Yeah. I'm like, I am exactly who I am. And I think I'm a good human. And if I am too much, then we won't be friends, you know, and that's okay. I'm not going to be friends with everybody, but I used to try to be friends with everybody. And I realized like, you're not gonna be everybody's cup of tea.
No. And
you want to be just authentically you and you'll attract the people.
Well, like I do believe it comes with age and everything else too. But I believe when you start honing in on your own values, I believe that when you start to be yourself, there is something so darn beautiful in that. And you actually 100%. Are going to attract far more people being you. So that is something that we talk about on I often say with our team.
You're stepping on my cord. My head went like this. And then I wasn't sure if we should keep space. stuck. It's fine. You stay where your foot wants to be. I hope you don't hear.
Stop.
This is your podcast. If you want me lower,
No,
fine.
stop.
My cord.
I'm just going to keep my feet.
I can't wait to see the video where it's just like this.
Or it would have been funnier if your head went like...
Just talking to the side of this mic.
Okay,
Oh, shoot.
So that's authentic.
That was beautiful.
If you were here, I just stepped on Autumn's cord or mic. So we had a moment. But what we were talking about is we talk amongst our team a lot, even for those who we hire on as new. I believe that everyone is an influencer in some way, shape, or form. And I think that is kind of a leadership mentality too. Everyone has something different to bring to the table, and that's okay. I think it's so important to be authentic and be your darn self. I'm not going to be you either, Autumn. There's things that you bring to the table that I'll never touch, and that's incredible. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I think sitting at a table with women and men or whoever that looks like, who are very authentic in who they are, hold strong values, are kind people, kind, genuine people, like there's nothing more powerful than that. So I always say everyone is actually an influencer. And I am not talking the social media influencers that are trying to make money on TikTok and this and that. I'm
trying to change the word.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I believe that everyone is an influencer because when you walk in a room, you have the choice to influence the room.
100%.
When you sit at that table for a meeting, you have that choice on how you're going to influence the room. When you leave the room and walk out, you have a choice how you're going to make people feel after you've left. So for me, it is, you actually probably don't even know it, but whether it's your kids, I'm going to say dog, maybe not dog.
She loves her dog.
I do. Whether it's your children, whether it's your staff, whether it's a fellow coworker, whether it's a boss, whether it's a friend, you are a leader. You can be a leader. You are a leader.
You know, you had asked this question, and I was thinking about this because we're in the world of social media, so influencers, and I was like, it's not selling somebody something. We're not influencing you to buy a pair of jeans. No. The point is influencing you to be your most authentic self. And I want people to see me, and I want to be proud of how they view me. I want them to see the parts of me that I think make me exactly who I am. And I was also thinking, like, I want, for White Peony in general, where you're like a White Peony influencer, I want White Peony to be proud of the people that represent them because they're authentically themselves.
Yeah. Amen.
You know, and so it's like a vice versa thing. Like, I'm proud to say I'm part of White Peony, and you also want White Peony to be proud to be part of you.
I agree. So whether you're, again, an entrepreneur or not, it doesn't matter. I would say take this. If there's anything you would take from this podcast, it is you've got to start, or if you're on the journey, follow along with us because we are here to highlight and help you deep dive into what makes you you. And that is something so special. And I think I look at the people that walk into the room and don't give two you-know-whats. And I love them more. I think they're amazing. Think about what they, and for those, you know, like I said, growing up with a little bit of insecurity, kind of what that journey looked like. Of course, everything gets better with it. My mom was like, you know, I thought 20 was a blast. And I turned 30, and then 30 came and went. And then I was like, nope, 40 is even better. And then she, you know, keeps going on. She was like, as I get older, it just keeps getting better. But I think it's because we finally understand what we bring to the table.
I love that. I do.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're going to wrap this up here because literally you could have Autumn and I talking with these microphones for a very, very long time. But most importantly, like why Autumn is here on our very first interview podcast is because the journey from Autumn starting White Peony till now, yes, there has been 4 years of your own life experiences, and there have been professional development. There has been everything in between, but you have really, really grown into who you are. And it is like best friend proud. I'm not that much older. I'm not talking about, so I'm not going to say mama proud, but I'm just, as a best friend, so dang proud. So grateful to have you on my team, honestly. So we are going to keep kicking butt.
I love that.
Now we're on a bigger journey for
Yeah.
Autumn's development as far as a leader. As she said, this is a little bit on the newer side. You've been a
Yes.
leader from day one at White Peony,
Yep.
but we're definitely in a deep dive to something greater. So I cannot wait to share a little bit more with that. We'll have you on again and talk leadership and kind of your thoughts about it even further.
I've got lots of thoughts on that.
We might have a call-in question and answer session. No.
I'll be bring.
But yes, if you are a professional, you're a leader in the community, an entrepreneur or not, I think this episode, if anything you can take from it, is connecting with people, people skills, being authentically you, and actually seeking out authenticity in someone else is such a true connection piece that I don't think people get sometimes, how much it means.
I think that's, like, for me, the biggest takeaway is that you, as a leader, so if you're in this and you're going to be a business owner, what I would suggest if you're going to have employees is not making them somebody that they're not, but truly finding their skill sets and developing those. Because one, you are not going to harness the best version of themselves or your business by wanting them to be somebody that you're not.
Amen.
But two, you're going to create a human, an employee for life when you develop somebody and really let them be them and harness their good energy and harness their skill sets and really let them develop that and believe in them along the way. Because I've worked at many different places, and I think one of the biggest things and why this podcast is what it is because she leads by walking the walk, not just talking the talk, and truly looks at each individual that she comes in contact with and sees them for who they are.
I love that. I'm getting a little choked up here.
Yeah, I kept looking me in the eye.
Just know that this is a journey. So I could have Mindy come on here to one of our other White Peony employees and talk about this because we're honing in on it with our retail staff, our part-time staff. It's a little bit of a journey, but I encourage you to like look at what makes people tick, find out what motivates them. It's not going to be a set in stone. What they're good at right off the get-go. You might have to like fumble a little bit, but there is an evolution there that is so important. But we have never had a cut and dry, black and white job description, and I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
Has it taken a lot more work on the back end? I think so. But I'm really proud because from everybody, you, Tara, Emily, Mindy, myself, my mom, where everyone was started, it has evolved based on listening and honing in on each individual's skills and talents and strengths.
And even for where my position is now, I remember the day that it just clicked. I was like, I get it now, because to transition from I'm the girl that rolls up her sleeves, physically moves things and makes things happen, to really developing the leadership skills of knowing, like, looking at the bigger picture and connecting your team, that was huge.
Yeah.
It's a huge step.
Yeah. Amen. All right. So overall, we've talked a lot about White Peony Boutique because we are on a mission. That it is not your average retail your clothing store. But I hope that you take from this what it is to hone in on authenticity. There is definitely leadership skills in your mixed in there. I'll talk about that more. But honestly, hone in on your people. And love them hard. So thank you guys. Thank you for being a part of this podcast episode. Thank you, Autumn.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers with our coffee. You guys wait till you see the outtakes. But I know this is like, I can't wait to look back on like our 100th episode. And we're like, do you remember that first one?
Yeah.
Embarrassing. I'm just kidding.
All right, start somewhere.
All right, everyone. Have a fabulous day today.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. If you found this information helpful, please share it with a friend. If you're looking for more information on the topics we covered, please head to the show notes below. And if you wouldn't mind leaving a 5-star rating and review, this would help this mission and our journey to get started. Let's make today and every day an opportunity to level up. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep striving, and keep making a difference.